Okay, it's 5:30. I want to welcome everyone to the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting tonight for the City of Loganville. And I'd like to start the meeting by making a motion to open the meeting and adopt the agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, excuse me.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3 in favor, none opposed. Okay, so tonight I just want to share a little background for those of you that may not know. When the committees are formed, the mayor forms the committee and assigns each council member as a chairperson. So I'm Lisa Newberry, and I chair the Planning and Zoning Committee. With me tonight is Danny Ford, Councilman Danny Ford. He is co-chair, and Councilman Bill Duvall, also co-chair. And also with us tonight we have Mayor Martinez, Danny Roberts, our city manager, and Tim Prater, our director of Planning and Zoning. So the purpose of the meeting tonight is just to speak with each one of you that filled out an application to serve on the city's Planning and Zoning Commission. We've got 3 open positions and 6 applicants. I don't know that that's ever happened like that before. It's usually hard to get someone to volunteer, so we want to say thanks, y'all. We really appreciate the y'all being willing to serve. One of our applicants is not here tonight, you may have noticed, but she will be. All right, so we're on a tight schedule because Janice's commission meeting starts at 6:30, so if the meeting seems like it's moving along fast, we are moving a little fast. So I'd like to invite each applicant to come up, just introduce yourself, tell us what motivated you to fill out the application, why you'd like to serve. So we'll go in alphabetical order, and we'll start with Miss Melissa Arnold. And if you want to use the podium, that'd be great. We're going to do the podium.
As you know, I've already been on the Planning Commission in Loganville for about 1.5 years now. I volunteered to serve because I work for another municipality, and we had board openings. And like you said, Ms. Newberry, you sit there and it's hard to find applicants. And I was standing in my office one day fussing about how we can't ever find anyone to serve on boards, and I realized I was guilty of exactly what I was fussing about, living in a city and not doing my civic duty. So that's what led me to apply.
Okay. And we appreciate that. I think when you filled someone's, you filled a vacant term for the remainder. So you haven't served a full term yet.
No, just about 1.5 years.
Right. Okay. And again, I appreciate you being willing to raise your hand and serve when we needed you. So
Sure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Arnold?
So we're going to ask questions at this point. That's fine. I mean, that's quick. It's better that we do it that way. So you've served on it for 1.5 years. Can you tell us what, some of an experience you've gained from being on it for this 1.5 years? Just what did you not know coming into it and you've learned since?
Oh, there's quite a bit I didn't know. When you come into it, especially working in a city, I've seen the operations from the outside, looking in, and being on the inside, there's a lot that you learn as far as the details of the decisions that you have to make, and learning to stay out of the fray and try to consider all sides while keeping the law in mind.
Okay.
What are some of the significant issues you see coming forward?
The biggest one's going to be the town center.
Danny, microphone.
Y'all can't hear me?
YouTube can't hear you.
They can't hear.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll start all over.
No,
What are some of the significant issues you see coming before the Planning and Zoning Commission in the city of Loganville?
well, like I said, the biggest one's the town center. And I think secondary to that is Loganville has that small town feel, and there's a lot of heartbreak about growth, and people don't want to see it change and grow. And unfortunately, that will happen, and it's how the city's going to deal with that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Arnold.
Thank you.
Next up, Brian Linkus.
So I'm Brian Linkus, live in the city, own Brian Linkus Insurance Agency across the street. I've been there since December 1st, 2017. I really want to get involved in the city because I think it's important to take us to the future. I know that there are situations regarding the density of housing that is very important, that the planning and zoning has to make a decision on. You know, Linda and I moved into Jacobs Creek. I'm very thankful that we had the opportunity to move into Jacobs Creek. You know, I had some wonderful neighbors, but I know that there's a tendency to want to push other developments out because of the growth. But I can say I appreciate having a place to stay in the city, and it's in a nice location. I've previously served, I didn't put on my application, I served on the LJ Historic Preservation Committee. I lived in LJ for 10 years. I owned a historic home. And LJ has tried to be a historic town, and Georgia Tech did a study that tourism that is historic tourism spends more money and stays longer in places where history is emphasized. So I was able to help promote the historical integrity of buildings within the city of LJ. That was from 2008 to 2014. Also, I was a member of the LJ Better Hometown Economic Restructuring Committee. And, you know, LJ got hit really hard after the 2008 fallout. And they were looking for ways to generate business within the downtown area. And so between 2010 and 2011, we recommended to the city of LJ a downtown development authority. And we called the citizens, all the landowners from the particular area there downtown, and made the presentation on the merits of a DDA. And then that was presented to city council, and city council therefore agreed to it. Now, LJ right now is a pretty thriving little town, and I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to serve in that capacity. My wife and I also just rezoned a 2-acre piece of property in Walton County from A1 residential to B2. So we're working on getting a mini storage facility built just south of 78 on Highway 20. So we had to go before the Walton County Planning and Zoning Commission.
So why would you leave LJ to come to Loganville?
Well, you know, Danny, a lot of people have asked me that.
I love that town.
So, you know, that's a great question. If I was a retiree, I would definitely, you know, consider staying there. I'd love to have a second home there, honestly.
Yeah.
But, you know, to make a living, I need to be in a place that is actively growing. And, you know, Loganville, you can't even find a home to buy. I mean, what does that say about our town? That says that people want to be here. They like what's going on at Loganville. And so, you know, to make a living, this is a great place. I'm thankful that I only have a 2-mile commute. I brag to everyone that, you know, I can lease a vehicle and stay under the annual mileage.
And Brian, when did y'all move to Loganville?
We moved in 2017
Okay.
in the fall.
And with you having a business here on Main Street, if you ever had to hear a case that had something to do with the property that you're on now, would you have any issues with having possibly to recuse yourself?
I wouldn't have any issues whatsoever. You know, ultimately, it's what's best for the city.
Okay.
So, you know, it's just very important that we continue to look forward. And I'm a very forward thinker.
Okay.
I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. All right. Next up is Miss Melanie Long.
I'm Melanie Long. I applied for this because I want to be a part of the solution. About 1.5 years ago, the city started a path that I personally didn't agree with. So that got me started in being involved in the local politics. But moving forward, it's gotten me interested in the way the city works. I don't, you know, a lot of people don't know how a city works, and I'm curious about that. And I moved to Loganville when I was 14. When I turned 25, I was going to start my own business, and I chose the town that I live in because Loganville didn't have a locksmith at that time. Loganville didn't have a lot of anything 30 years ago. And so I wanted to start my business here. My business has grown and thrived. And in those 30 years, I've pretty much been a part of every new business that's come to town because I've had the opportunity to work with them on their security needs and their locks and their keys. So I've met a lot of people, and you hear their stories about the troubles they have coming to town and starting their business. Planning and zoning, I feel like I do want to further myself in the city political arena. And I think it'd be a good starting point so I can learn. I want to start low and learn so that as I come up, I have some education and some background in how things work. You know, like I say, I look at things in this town and I think, how did we get a government mandated halfway house for criminally ill people, and it's right next door to a pre-K? That should never happen. So where did that start from? Was that down at the planning level? Was that just our city plan? Do we have a city plan? So being a part of something like planning and zoning would give me the opportunity to learn, to understand. You just don't want to go out and start yelling about things till you kind of know how they got like they are. And so I'd be more than happy to serve my city in any capacity that I would be allowed to do.
Okay. And you have no issues with attending the monthly meetings?
I'm already attending the monthly meetings.
Okay. Councilman Ford, any questions?
Recuse yourself. Don't you have a business downtown?
I do have a business. I have a business across the street.
It's the same question. That's fine. Start over there. All right, good.
No, anything that ever involved anything that I have that would affect me directly, I have no problems recusing myself in any way whatsoever.
Okay, fair enough.
Well,
You good?
yeah, no, I got a question.
Okay.
I know, it's on, I just need to be able to pull it in my mouth. What skills would you think you'd be able to bring to the commission?
I feel like I have good people skills. I have a great, I'm able to learn things quickly. I also have a very discerning eye. I can sit there and look at things and just know that doesn't belong there. But I can ask the intelligent questions to find out, like I think Melissa said, learning, there's the legal part of it. As a matter of fact, there's going to be an issue coming up at the meeting after this that I personally have personal feelings about, and I've had discussions with other people. If I were on the planning and zoning, I would give the gentleman his variance, even though I have a problem with him on a personal level. So I do have that ability to lay things down and look at it, because as a business person,
Right.
October 1st next year is my 30th year in business for myself. Businesses don't stay in business if they don't have the
Right.
ability to work with people.
Okay, thank you.
You kind of answered my question there, because I know you've been involved and you've come to the meetings. I'm sure you're coming to the planning and zoning meetings,
I'll
correct?
be here.
Yeah. So, just kind of tell us again what your takeaway is from the role of what planning and zoning does and how that fits in.
Well, I think what it does is it helps city council. It gives them somebody in the beginning. You're already overwhelmed with what y'all do. So I feel, and I don't know, that's what I would be trying to learn. I feel like planning and zoning, the planning and zoning group, is that's the first step for people that want to come to town and do something. I feel like that's the first step in planning and zoning's job. And this is, like I said, again, this is what I feel it is to look through that and kind of weed things out before they come and take up your valuable time. So that's what I feel like it is. And to work with Tim and say, okay, look, hey, what are the restrictions for this? And do the study, like kind of the legs for the committee, the city council. I feel like the planning and zoning is probably the legs. And I could get in there and be totally wrong, but that's what I feel like. They're the legs for that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
I'm good.
Next is Miss Lisa Luttrell. Did I say that right?
Hey, I'm Lisa Luttrell. It's pretty simple. I want to be involved. I'm a paralegal by trade. I've been doing it for 10 plus years. I research. I love research. And I feel like part of planning and zoning is research. Finding out what's best for Loganville, what's best for its citizens, what's best for the businesses, what's best overall. I think Melanie said something, she wants to be part of the solution. I want to be part of the solution of making Loganville great. I love Loganville. But I also know that there's parts of Loganville that are dying. I know that there's parts of Loganville that are good with the way they are, but there's parts of Loganville that do need to be updated, that do need to be rezoned, that do need to be cleaned up. And I want to be part of that. I want to see our city grow, and I want to see it be great. And again, I want to be involved. I have a daughter who can now drive herself. So I was limited on how I could be involved. Now I have more time where I can do that. And I feel like this is a good place to start.
Okay. And are you able to attend the monthly meetings as well?
I am.
Yeah, okay. All right. Danny?
I'm
Question?
good.
Okay.
So just to kind of understand, you're a paralegal and you work for a law firm in Lawrenceville, but what type of, you said you do a lot of research. Do you do anything in terms of zoning or in terms of property or?
Not specifically zoning, but I'm a family law paralegal.
Okay.
So I do have to research property all the time. I have to do title searches. I have to order appraisals. I have to unfortunately find out who's going to get what kind of money. And in order to do that, I have to deal with the property. At one point, many years ago, I was an account executive for a mortgage company. And I dealt with a lot of property from title searches all the way up to closing loans. So I'm not specialized in zoning, but I do have a lot of experience in property.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm thinking, go ahead.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And last is Miss Amanda Simsby.
Well, I would like to start out by saying that while I don't participate in social media myself, my husband does. And this morning on Facebook, it popped up that 7 years ago today, I began my campaign for city council. Wow. And while I was not successful in that endeavor, I have to tell you that it was one of the most rewarding, fun experiences I've ever had. I had a great time. I ran against or with Chuck Bagley and Mark Cadeau. Both of those guys were fantastic to me. We had a great experience together. They taught me a lot. Again, while I didn't win, I genuinely believe running for some type of office in your community, it should be right on up there with the checklist of things to do in your life. So when this opportunity presented itself, I sort of jumped at the chance because like everyone else here, I love our community. I grew up in Lawrenceville. When my husband and I married, he said, "Where do you want to live?" And I said, "Well, 8 miles from my mom," and she lived in Snellville. So that's how we came to live in Loganville. We live in one of the oldest homes in Loganville. So I feel like I have a dual sense of purpose in my community and maintaining some of what little history we have left. I love being part of the Planning Commission. I've had a wonderful experience serving with Miss Janice and with Tim, and that's just been fantastic. I'll sort of jump right to one of your questions because I think it's important about recusals. My husband owns a small business here in the city, and I've had 2 opportunities in the time that I've served to recuse myself from 2 cases. I didn't really have to, but I felt it was the right thing to do. And one of the things that I think that, like Melanie said, you're kind of the legs, and you're sort of that first line for council and making planning and zoning decisions. And I also feel like what we do for council in some ways is provide a little bit of cover. And I would never make a decision or not recuse myself so that it would somehow blow back on council in some way. I'd rather just step away and say, that's probably not okay for me to do, and move on with it. Yeah, I could talk all day, so you should throw those questions out there.
How long did you say you've lived here?
We have lived here. We bought our house in 2003, so we're going on 18 years.
Nice.
We're just off Fair Street.
Okay.
I don't know if many of y'all know Barbara Carter. We live in her childhood home. As I understand back there, Mr. Harold probably played in my in the home that I live in. Yep, that's the Fred Play home.
Can you talk about some of your experience with the Evermore CRG, that's key.
Sure,
Huge.
sure.
That's huge. All about that.
For 9.5, I joined my husband full-time at the shop 2 years ago, I believe. I don't know. It's all run together. But for 9.5 years, I worked for the Evermore Community Improvement District. For those of you unfamiliar with what that is a self-taxing entity. All the properties along Highway 78 from Snellville to Stone Mountain, so right there at 78 and 124, all the way to West Park Place Boulevard, agreed to levy a separate line item tax. Those taxes are collected by the county, and those revenues are then funneled back to the CID. CIDs can be in the business of several different things, but their primary focus, at the end of the day, any boxes they check has to deal with transportation. So in my 9.5 years with the CID, I've been exposed to many programs and issues relating to transportation, economic development, federal, state, county, and city policies and guidelines. I was also responsible for writing and updating our LCI grants and writing and updating our transportation gateway grants, and then overseeing the administration of the funds when they were awarded. It was an interesting job.
And you weren't going to tell us about all that?
Yeah, okay, we could talk all day long.
That's very impressive.
But it was a very interesting job. At one time, we occupied the former Olympic tennis stadium that was over at West Park Place Boulevard. So that was interesting in and of itself, and had a lot to do with the 78 and 124 intersection that many of y'all have probably come through and gone, what in the world? Yeah, Melissa knows a little bit about that too. But yeah. So it was a very good job. Prior to that, I was in commercial real estate for 7 years, working for the Williams family. Yeah.
Any
A lot
questions,
A
Amy?
lot of jobs.
I don't have any questions.
I am able to attend meetings. I'll see y'all in about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I know you can attend the meetings.
No, and how long, how long have you been on the planning and zoning?
I've done one full term, so is that 2 years?
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Anything else?
Okay.
Okay, great.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for serving.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So that will conclude the meeting tonight.
Got a question.
Okay.
Do you at least want to read, since she's not here, at least want to read her, Alma's application?
Yeah, I'd be
just for
happy.
the record?
Okay, so the other applicant that couldn't be with us tonight was caring for an ill family member, Miss Alma Thomas. She has lived in the city for 17 years. Her education is high school. Course of study says business. She does have a degree. Employer was, looks like, was that Gwinnett County Public Schools? Retired? Okay. As an admin assistant. And tell us why you are interested in becoming a member of the board. She has made her home, Loganville, her home. She cares about the future and the direction of redevelopment, business and residential. She is very organized, compassionate, and fair. She has served as treasurer of the PTA, or former resident HOA, treasurer of the Villas at Loganville HOA since 2006. And she's capable of making sound and fair decisions. And I know that I see her at quite a lot of the council meetings and work sessions, and I don't know if she comes to you guys' meeting or not, but she's very involved in the city. Okay, is there any other questions? Anything else, Mayor? Okay.
I'd like to say something about social media. You know, if you're appointed to this commission, any of y'all, what you put on social media, you probably should stay away from it. As being a member of the Planning Commission, there's been a lot of stuff out there since the first of the year. And, you know, you'll hear, see, and talk about things within the commission that you just can't put out there for the public to see. I mean, you can. I just wouldn't recommend it. But I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay,
Thank you.
good points. Okay, so what happens next is we will meet offline. Excuse me, we'll make a recommendation at next month's council meeting, then the full council will make a vote, and then the mayor will swear in after that. And is there any other questions from anybody before we conclude? I'm getting my ear to, yeah. Yep. So September 7th is Monday, is Labor Day. We're having a work session that night, so if you all could please attend, so the council members that are not here could ask questions if they wanted. Everybody good with that? On Labor Day?
Couple of cases already been advertised. We had to have them. So we will reach
Well, I gotta say, this is nice that we have 3 applicants, and 6 applicants and 3 positions. Y'all are gonna make this very, very tough.
We're going to be voting on this Thursday after Labor Day.
Right.
So, just Amanda, you can't make it Labor Day, is that? Oh, you can, okay, because I saw, okay, because I saw some disappointment on you. And you wouldn't, okay, so she could. Oh, okay. All right, there you go.
You're probably not gonna be the only one. Okay, so again, it's not gonna be a very easy decision. You all are great, bring your own set of skills and things to the table. So again, thanks for being willing to step up. But we will, like I said, yes, very. So we'll take this offline and make a decision and get back to you all. And again, thanks for coming out tonight. And anybody wants to stick, I guess everybody's gonna stick around for the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I did. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. If we're all good, then I'll ask for a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3 in favor and none opposed, so the meeting is adjourned.